Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's some serious. Where my girls at? We linked up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight.
Lock her in, please. Gloria's asking to lock me in.
All right. Girlfriends. Here we are. 9:10 a.m. The Superstation, WFDF, based out of the Detroit. Oh my goodness. Call us. We got issues, and boy, do we have issues. We've got some issues, but you know what? Our goal is not to stay in the issue, but to be a part of the solution. This is Sabrina with Caterina, Gloria, Crisette, and Crisette is not here with us today. She's taking a few days vacation, you guys, and we are glad that chick is getting some vacation time because we are tired of her talking about, I'm the only one who's never missed a show. I'm the only one who this, that, and the other. So, Lady Crisette.
Never let us live it down.
Oh, she was gone. I thought that chick was gone. Okay.
She ain't missed this one.
Oh my goodness. Well, Chris, we know that you're not on the video portion, but you guys, she loves us so much. She told us she was going to be off today. And here
Clean
she
it up,
is.
Sabrina. Clean it up.
Where my girls at? Well, you guys, Chris, oh my goodness, she's going to tell us where she is. Caterina's going to tell us where she is. Gloria's here with an amazing guest who is family to us, and we're so glad to have her. So it's 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. I just got back from a few days off, and it was fabulous. Went to wine country, Ohio. Had never spent time there, and wow, Ohio, I did not know, and was pleasantly surprised. Back home in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and there was a lot that went down this weekend. Caterina, how you doing out there on the West Coast?
Kind of like Gloria, hot. Okay, she got a manual fan. I got a flow fan and a side fan and the air conditioning. Hello, it is hot over here. But I'm excited. Welcome back, Sabrina. Welcome back from your tardiness of a couple days.
Thank you. Did y'all miss me? I was here on Friday. I worked it. I was only gone one day. Y'all, these chicks are something else. They make you show up to work every day, okay? And you better have a good reason to have an excused absence, okay?
I was so excited. We had yesterday off. I didn't know what to do with myself, right? I was like, oh, my alarm went off. Ding, 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 ding. I was like, okay. What is going on in America today? Well, y'all, I mean, what was it? I missed the number. Someone on our Facebook audience or listening audience can correct us, or maybe even Crisette, who is listening in. Ransomware, was it 70 billion? It was some kind of crazy number. Oh my goodness. How about the Moors? Oh yeah, we got to go there. But the ransomware, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, it's crazy, but it's also very scary how dependent we are of technology, and how with a couple of, I don't know if these are highly sophisticated folks with highly sophisticated equipment, or if it's just some nerds in a basement. We think they're in Russia, but these companies are, unless they come out with a policy across, they are paying that money. Because it literally is shutting companies down. Literally shutting companies down. And then Anthony, you know, my husband, he is talking to folks all over the nation, all over the world. And he just sent me this: more dangerous than Delta. Lambda strain detected in over 30 countries, says the Malaysian Health Ministry. The Lambda strain was reported to have originated from Peru. The country with the highest mortality rate is Peru, and that is where it originated. In a tweet on Monday, July 5th. Yes, Peru. Lambda. Yeah, Peru.
Yeah, Peru. Between that, this new variant, Elsa, I'm just like, what is it? Mm-hmm. What is it? What is it? Where can we go? What can we do? But we got to be full of hope. We got to stay prayerful, because all around us, it's a lot. 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 Chris, let's bring you in. Tell us who you are, where you are, because I know you're going to be jumping off soon. Don't be trying to sneak. You better stay on this show the whole time. Okay? Okay. Okay, first. Nice. Wow. Mm-hmm. 910. Wow.
It is hot up in here, but it is so beautiful. I'm thinking girlfriend trip to Arizona. What do y'all think about that?
Love it.
Yes. So I'm gonna be listening in. I am so excited. Sabrina, thank you for the topic for today. When I tell you this is gonna be a hot topic, and I can't wait to just kind of listen in. I'm going to disconnect. My husband already left me. He's like, listen, chick, I'm on vacation. You better get with the program. So I'm going to listen in, but just wanted to make sure. Just I could tell Sabrina, I still haven't missed the show.
Okay, I got you. Well, tell the good bishop we thank you for lending you to us for a little bit. But when the good bishop calls, you better go running, First Lady. Okay?
So handle your business. Oh my
The mess.
You guys, just so you know, we're talking Nikole Hannah Jones, the amazing writer who, for the New York Times, who has declined UNC tenure position and now will join Howard University, calling it 313-778-7600. Some people said that she should have taken UNC position. Other people are so doggone happy that she didn't. And so we're going to go to Gloria, and then she's going to introduce her to our special guest, and then we're going to open up for a conversation. Gloria, how is it in Baltimore?
Hi, this is Samia. I got to get locked in. It's great in Baltimore. We're trying to work this thing out. We're trying to work this out. I was like, where is she going with this one? For real. Okay, so first, some of them didn't, all people didn't hear where Chris was. She's at the NBA Finals, and it starts tonight. So I'm so excited. You know, I love to watch the championship. You know, I love to watch a champion. And then this conversation is all things Howard. What? My alma mater, like, for real. But I will tell you right now, it is Thanksgiving in July at the Bankses, for real. We have everybody here. We got all the grandkids, all the nieces, all the nephews, everybody. Everybody's here, and they're hanging out. And we've been to the water. We've been to the sun. We've been on the sliding board in the backyard. I mean, it's been just everything. So I'm excited about this weekend that we had. I was excited to have yesterday off. I'm excited to be with you guys. But seriously, we are so honored here on this topic to have Samia Bashir here, who is also a tenured professor at Reed College in Tacoma? No.
Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
And the thing that I love about her is when we were talking about this subject today, she really knows this deal. Like, she knows the backstory. So we're excited to have Samia. CB, you want to introduce yourself and tell me a little about who you are?
Sure. Hi. It's lovely to be here with you, ladies. Hello. And hello to everyone listening in. I am not at the NBA Finals, but I am at the Banks Invitational. How about that?
All right.
I have been following this Nikole Hannah Jones saga from day one. I do teach. I'm a professor at Reed College in Portland, Oregon. I've been through the tenure process. I've heard a lot of what she finally spoke out about the process as well. I have a lot of friends who teach at UNC as well and have been very deeply impacted by this process. I'm also following Ta-Nehisi Coates' work forever and ever. And comes through a particular Howard background and friend group as well. So I just think that like so many things are coalescing together into the issues we have to discuss today that are not just about one sister getting tenure or denied tenure, but are really about her standing up for all of us and pushing this issue, the students and her colleagues standing up and pushing this issue, the community doing the same thing, and her saying, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make UNC do right, and then I'm going to do right for all of us. And she moved on.
Yep, gone. That's right, gone. Don't want it. A little bit too late. Too little, too late. So you know what? I think we could just jump right in because there's a lot to dig into, a lot to talk about. If you haven't heard, Professor Nikole Hannah Jones will not join the UNC faculty this fall. She declined UNC's offer. She will be the inaugural Knight Chair in Race at Howard University instead. And good for her. Good for her. I think I live in Chapel Hill. It's sad for us. It's a shame on the university.
Oh, yeah, Sabrina, you live there. You must be all up in.
What'd you say, Gloria?
I said you live in Chapel Hill, so you must be all up in the feeling.
All up in it.
It's on the front page of the news. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, I get the Daily Tar Heel, which is the students' voice of what they're doing and how they're doing it, and when they were protesting, how they were protesting, and just so proud of the young people, because quite honestly, if it wasn't for the young people who stood up and said, not on my watch, again, yeah, you know, not on my watch. President, you have to hear us out. Faculty, you have to listen to us. And this is not right. I don't know if they would have even come to the conclusion that, yes, let's give this sister what she is rightfully. Yeah, they would not. That's right, Samia, they would not. And I just got to read this because it just really, that we have a caller, but let me just read this. She says, it is not my job, because she said it was a tough decision to not to stay or to go. Right. It was tough. And she first thought about those protesting young people. And she said, I thought about them standing on the front lines for me. And she said, before I made my final decision, I went to the Black students first and had a conversation. Right. And then she says this, as she thought about them deciding to give her the position, she said, I thought about it, and she decided it's not my job to heal the university, to force the reforms necessary to ensure the Board of Trustees reflects the actual population of the school and the state, or to ensure that the university leadership lives up to the promises it made to reckon with its legacy of racism and injustice. For too long, powerful people have expected the people they have mistreated and marginalized to sacrifice themselves to make things whole. The burden of working for racial justice is laid on the very people bearing the brunt of the injustice, and not the powerful people who maintain it. I say to you, I refuse. I refuse. And so the message, the moral to the story is, so many of us have to stand up and say, I refuse. Right. Not me, not now, not again. And so hats off. My thought is hats off to Nikole Hannah Jones. She has set a precedent, and more need to own their power like she has. So, Sabrina, I know you guys know that.
Well, I'm just saying that one of the things that she's showing us too here is that we need to know what are our issues and what are not our issues. Those are the UNC's issues. That's their issue that they caused, they started it, and they need to solve it. That's not on her. That's right. As our, literary queen Toni Morrison said, the problem with racism, it's a distraction for us. We don't get to be our greatest selves solving their problem. And she said that I'm not responsible for that. I'm a historian. This is what I do. You can, that's right. You can try to deny me tenure after I've won my Pulitzer Prize, done literally everything that everyone far past tenure does. But I'm going to continue and devote myself to my work and my community and my issues. You keep yours.
That's it. That's it. Let's go to the phone lines. Call 313-778-7600. We are jumping into this thing right away. Grace, are you there?
Thank you, ladies. it's a joy to hear you guys speak. I'm going to say I had to agree with her press release, and it's pretty much a where I wanted to respond to it. I agree. It could have not been written any better. But it's not her responsibility, and I felt she made the right decision. So I'm going to come in and get out sick, but I agree with the press release. I thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you for calling. We got issues. 313-778-7600.
Caller Tracy. Tracy, are
you there?
I'm there. I'm here. How are you guys today?
Great.
We're great. We got issues, but we're great. This is an issue that it shouldn't even be an issue in 2021, but it's an issue, and we just have to continue to deal with these issues. What you got, Tracy?
Right.
What are your thoughts?
When this first happened and the story broke about university not granting Nikole her tenure, for me, I understood it as a political situation, because the talk right now is against critical race theory, of which we all know critical race theory is not taught in public schools. It's taught in law school and grad school. So this is what the whole situation was really about. It was a political matter because the Republicans and the major donors to the university, they were upset about Ms. Jones, about the 1619 project. So they were trying to punish her for that. And this is the reason why they didn't grant her the tenure, even though they're trying to act like that wasn't the issue. But we all know that's the issue. And with the climate being the way that it is right now, I just believe that politics played a huge role in that. And she did the right thing by allowing them to go ahead and grant her the tenure and then leave. Because that was the best move she could have ever made to prove a point. And the point is, we as Black women, especially educated Black women, we don't want your handout. We want what we deserve and what we have earned. And we want it, despite what your politics may be. We earned it. And she did the right thing.
Yeah, that's it. You brought up a very good point. It was political. Not some of it was political. All of it was political. Right. You're absolutely right. Donors, the building that she was going to be working in was named after a donor. I think he donated $25 million, and he was the greatest opposer. And they say where the money resides, the money resides. And so they believed that they had to appease where that money was reside until others stood up. So very good point. Thank you for calling in.
We're adding value, Tracy, to the conversation. Again, thank you for calling 313-778-7600. We got issues. Thank you, Tracy.
Hey, Sabrina.
Yes. Go ahead.
One of the things that we're all do is we're going to call her Dr. Jones, because we tend to get real comfortable with our statured people, and we need to give them the continued respect, and we need to carry that through. And Sabrina's bringing that to the point that as we talk about her and as our people lift her up during this time, because this is just the beginning of the trying season. Even though she's made a good decision to go to Harvard, it's still going to be go to Howard. It's still going to be very trying for her. So as we talk further about her, let's all ask everybody to continue talking to her as Dr. Jones or Dr. Nikole Hannah Jones, so that we can clear who she is and keep her stature exactly where it is.
I love that. Absolutely. Wonderful. Before we go to break, we're going to break, you guys. Here we go. We got to pay some bills. You're listening to 910 AM, the Superstation, with the girlfriends, Sabrina, Caterina, Crisette, and Gloria, and our girlfriend, our guest, Samaya, tonight, you guys, on 910 AM, Superstation-WFDF, based out of Detroit, Michigan. We're talking about Dr. Nikole Hannah Jones not accepting the UNC professorship, the tenure professorship, and taking her talents to Howard University in Washington, D.C. We'll be right back.
So now I'm going to talk to Facebook. Hey, Facebook. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you guys are there with us. I'm so excited to be here with my niece. You guys, she's one who listens to We Got Issues a lot. She's always there. She was there at the beginning, giving us ideas, how we could put stuff on the site. She is a phenomenal educator at Reed College and a tenured professor. And so I just love the fact that she brings so much value. Because a lot of times we don't have the insight that we really need.
Excellent. Thank you. We'll come right back to him.
Let's see if we can get her to. You guys can hear her too, right?
Okay.
Hold on, Sabrina, mute.
Yeah. Okay. And his name is John. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I know Shanae said this is so juicy. This is juicy. And then when you get to see the before and after, Gail King did a great interview with her that was very, very powerful. So you guys, if you have questions, now's the time to call in, because one of the things that's really critical is if we're all informed. You know, the other thing that's so interesting is we know the news only gives us this much. That's why I'm glad that Sabrina's in North Carolina. She's getting some. I'm glad that we have Samia Bashir here, who has got relationships with these people. It's not that she knows it, but she knows them. She knows the structure. She knows the people. She knows the protest. She knows the feeling of the consultants. She knows the fight. So that is really so important for us to be aware of what we can do. And then the other piece of this is how many lives are going to be affected worldwide.
Yeah, more than we can really imagine,
right?
Quite frankly,
right.
And, and I think an important point that Sabrina was talking about in terms of, let's talk about the money, let's talk about the funding and the journalism school that has that name, et cetera. But let's also talk about the fact that we, as our community, Howard University will be standing in for that here, also can fight back. That inaugural night chair, that means they went and got somebody to cough up the money to create a position for her that is fully funded. And it's a whole new thing. Howard didn't have this job before. This is a new thing that they said because she said, I know my value. I'm going to make UNC show my value. And now we're going to pay for it.
Okay, we're going back to the show. Go back to the show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hello, John, are you still with us? Okay, maybe we'll come back. We'll go back to the girlfriends.
I got something.
If you got lost,
this is.
I'd love to hear from you. Go ahead, Gloria. Yeah, this is so good. Sabrina, Sabrina was talking about what Howard did to make it happen.
Yes, Howard did something huge. Happened to be a breakdown because they were so.
I think it's important to note that
when you talk about
what Jones did was she held UNC to account. And so she said, I know my worth. It's not just that I will walk away from your denial. I will make you fix it. They fixed it. They had to come back and show themselves, attempt to apologize. They didn't quite do that. And offer her tenure, knowing they were wrong. But she made them do that. And then she got to be the one to walk away. Now, they talk about that building that has his name on it and his money and his funders. But what Howard did was say, oh, y'all not playing this game by yourselves. They went and got their own money. That position, that inaugural night chair, that means that hasn't existed before. They created this position for her, a place one that Howard has not had before. And she's bringing millions of dollars worth of resources to Howard University.
$15 million, she said.
$15 million.
She's bringing with her $15 million.
And skipping other writer, Ta-Nehisi Coates, into the conversation as well. They're joining together. So them saying, we're going to stand up and bring kind of Black thought home. Y'all don't get to kind of play us and then have us act like we're supposed to feel grateful that you've fixed your mistake. No, I'm not responsible for that. I'm going to go to our community and we will bring our knowledge and our thought there and all of the resources that you thought you could deny us to our students and do better.
Right. And then this morning,
I just want to say
that she said more of us have to take responsibility and bring it back to the Black community to teach the students. We need to offer, as much as she felt responsible to UNC, she said this transition has shown her how important it was to go back to the community that supported her so strongly. And I thought that was a big statement.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it amazing? She said that what she knew it was right. One of her biggest regrets was not going to Howard. And so she said, isn't that something? Yeah.
Yes,
she said
girl, I was hot like fire.
She chose UNC over Howard back then, and now this gives her that opportunity because she always had some regret, and so now she feels so much at home. And Samia, what you were saying, the positions, and you talked about Ta-Nehisi. How do you pronounce that? How do you pronounce his name?
Ta-Nehisi Coates. Ta-Nehisi Coates, who is a well-known writer. He's written about, most famously about reparations, etc. Brought kind of Black intellectual public thought into the larger community. But he also comes out of the Black community. His father, Paul Coates, well-known Black publisher through the mid-20th century and into our own. He is a Howard alum as well. A number of other writers that I know went to Howard along the same time as him. But when we talk about what these decisions do for all of us as well, not just bringing this money in, but so many people who, myself included in many ways, went to predominantly white colleges and universities, wished, we could have had HBCU experience. One of the issues is so many resources are denied our schools. As a professor, I would love to teach creative writing, but many HBCUs can't afford creative writing. They don't have that. So it's not even an option. When we start bringing these resources and forcing them into our schools, then it affords so much more to our students and to our thinkers and our artists and our creators and our teachers, etc. So that really opens so much more to all of us at every level.
Wow.
We benefit. We all benefit in so many ways. I understand that their positions were funded by nearly $20 million in donations from the Knight Foundation, the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, and the Ford Foundation, as well as an anonymous donor. And so just hats off to those who rose to the occasion and said, okay, if they don't see value there, let's show them where value is here. And not that you have to take less. We're going to give you what you deserve and make this work. And that just warmed my heart tremendously.
To be on the right side of history is powerful. I'm loving this conversation, and I feel exactly the way that you feel, Samia. I wish I had known about an HBCU, but I'm not tired, but you get tired of the same conversation. I was at Mills College when Angela Davis was there. We were marching, we were fighting. Why is she not tenured? Then my ethnic studies and dance professor, we were marching, we were fighting. Why are there no Black tenured professors? That was 35 years ago, and we are having the same conversation. And that was liberal Oakland, California. Okay?
Yes. Well, I teach at a liberal arts college. In 21st century, I was only the third Black woman that was ever tenured at Reed College in its 110-year history. And the first woman wasn't until the 80s. So people have been wrong for a long time at our liberal institutions. I think that's really important that we see where we're going and also see that follow ourselves and each other when we say, actually, I'm going to take the reins of this ship and steer it right, rather than
That's right. Let me create my own narrative. Let me not fall into the story you want to write for me. Let me write my own story. And that's what I'm loving about this. I'm loving this for sure. And it's, I mean, come on, you guys. She was an alum of UNC, a Pulitzer Prize winner, a reporter for the New York Times.
Prize. Let's underline, and then underline again and put a circle around it, but stars around it. A Pulitzer Prize winner, fighting for what she was supposed to get. And then Samia said that when she was given the night chair at North Carolina, she was supposed to be given tenure then.
Here's the thing. She's not only the first Black person to have that position at UNC. She's the first professor hired into that position without tenure. So she took that position and they told her she had to go through the tenure process. When that position is such an elevated position, it's one that comes with tenure, period. They didn't give her tenure. And then they made her go through the tenure process, during which she published with the largest publications in the country, the most talked about pieces, got a Pulitzer Prize. All these things are things that people put on their tenure file for review. That's far past your tenure file. And to be denied tenure for a position that should already come with tenure, after you've gone beyond above and beyond for what should qualify for tenure. Right, beyond, above, beyond, exactly.
Yeah. And what a slap in the face. You know, you were awarded, I mean, you guys, she was awarded like UNC Distinguished Alumnae Award. She was the darling child from, you know, they looked all so good. And she said, I grew up loving this university. When I was a child, I loved UNC since I was a child. Coming back to this school would have been like a homecoming. Yet no one at UNC ever explained to her why the tenure vote did not occur in November or January. Not even the decency to say why the vote hadn't taken place. Not even the common courtesy, you guys. Again, we always have to do more to get just some of it. And we have got to be sick of it. My grandmother always said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And thank God, Dr. Nikole Hannah Jones has stood up and has made us all so proud, Samia, in the academic world, because I believe this sets a precedent, I think it gives other African-American people of color courage to ask for what you want, to be bold, not just settle. Talk to us a little bit about academia and African-Americans in academia.
Well, you know, I think one thing that's really important to note is, even when we talk about how this can inspire all of us to stand taller or push harder, it's even more important to note, I think, that she was a superstar at UNC. She was an alumna, a superstar alumna of UNC, before she was a superstar professor, before she was a superstar journalist in a journalism school. That is not your average college professor. Wow. And so your average college, it's kind of that, you know, you have to be 10 times as good.
Right.
She was 10 times as good. And this is what happened.
She was.
When we talk about those of us who went to predominantly white institutions and loved those. I went to Berkeley. I love Berkeley. You know what Berkeley has not ever done? Loved me back. And I'm not saying that to diss Berkeley, but that's an important thing for us to remember is who's going to love it. We're going to give all this love, but we're not getting the love back. We're getting used back. UNC was able to use her well, you know, and then have the nerve to say, not only are we going to deny your tenure, but we'll offer you this contract for 5 years to do the work. It was such an offensive offer to even have to consider that. And so the rest of us, Black people in academia, are still fighting at a level that is so above and beyond, even just fighting for our students, fighting for ourselves, fighting the kind of idea of diversity and inclusion as something that, once again, is somehow our problem and not theirs.
Right.
You know, the one time I sat in a diversity meeting, meeting with the dean of students, meeting with the dean of the college, and they talked about diversity and how they've worked so hard to get the Black students, for instance, up their cultural competencies, so they would come into the environment and know how people talk, and I said, well, what's the cultural competency work you're doing for the white students? And and they had never
nothing to say.
Had never thought of such a thing. And so the idea that, we're going to bring Black people, students, professors, staff into our institutions, expecting that they leave who they are at home and come here acting like us so that they can be accepted, while we can use their face in every single brochure. That's not going to work. It's not going to work no more. And I think more and more the rest of us are saying, actually, that's not going to work. We're not going to allow that.
That's it. We got Crisette. That's excellent point. Crisette, are you there? Let's go to the phone lines. Crisette.
Elated that Dr. Jones made the decision to go take her talent to Howard, where she is not tolerated but appreciated, loved. But you know what I know for sure is, where do people, especially people of affluence and power, where does it hurt the most of them? It's always when it comes to money. And thinking about, now that she's going to Howard, all the different opportunities that these high schoolers that are making a decision about what college to go to, and I think my youth said it, that a lot of the HBCUs can't offer as many programs as the other universities just because they don't have the money. But I'm so excited that now Howard can offer some things that before they probably couldn't have offered, because they just didn't have someone of, Dr. Jones' stature to be able to really invest in that particular area. So, you know what? It is absolutely a loss for UNC Chapel Hill, but it absolutely is a gain for Howard. And so I'm like Caterina, if we could turn back the hands of time, I absolutely would have chosen to go to an HBCU, but it just was not on our radar. And I'll be honest, even in high school, I can't even remember my counselors saying you should look into an HBCU. They were really saying, go to, your local university and so on and so forth. But this conversation here has just been so enriching and eye-opening. So I just had to call in. So thank you guys so much, Sabrina, for bringing this to the forefront. Thank you, Crisette.
Thank you so much. And hats off to Howard University and President Wayne Frederick. I mean, oh my goodness, you guys. He praised the appointments of Ta-Nehisi Coates and Dr. Nikole Hannah Jones. He said, we are excited to have two of today's most respected and influential journalists join our family. He also talked about being at a critical juncture in our democracy, and yet our press does not reflect the nation it serves, and it too often struggles to grasp the danger for our country as we see growing attacks on free speech and the fundamental right to vote. Hannah Jones said that. She said, in the storied tradition of the Black press, the Center for Journalism and Democracy will help produce journalists capable of accurately and urgently covering the challenges of our democracy with clarity, skepticism, rigor, and historical dexterity that is too often missing from today's journalism. So it just makes my heart proud to come from a journalistic background, to know that our young people are going to be taught and coveted and covered in such a way with bright minds like this. Gloria, I think you wanted to jump in and say something.
Yeah, well, I was thinking something, but then I am reminded that you went to a very prestigious school for communication. You have a journalism background. And so what this does is it's just two things. It broadens the mind of so many people. But what Dr. Jones is doing also is she's raising the consciousness of so many people, what HBCU schools don't have, what the mainstream schools do have, where the resources have been, why we don't have more Blacks in those avenues because no one puts us in those avenues. If you are locked down because you don't have anybody watching out for them, creating for them, what she's going to do, Dr. Jones is going to create this at Howard, which is going to be something new. But I would love to ask you, Sabrina, when you reach back and think about, you know, who was teaching you when you were young, just knowing you wanted to be Connie Chung on TV, you know,
right.
But what it could have done for you to have a woman of that caliber.
That's
the
right. That's right.
1619 Project. We could do a whole show about the 1619 Project in and of itself.
Right.
But what do you think that might have done for you or those students that are sitting there, whether they're at Howard or any other school?
Yeah. And going to undergrad at Tennessee State University, where I was celebrated, where I was told, be brave, go do whatever you want because you're capable and able. I'm so grateful that I had professors who believed in me, loved me, celebrated me, because I will tell you it was very different at BU when I went and got my master's degree in broadcast journalism. They told me it was going to be tough. It was going to be hard. Maybe I should think about doing something different. Imagine that. And so this is the reality of what it is and what our people, our bright, brilliant Black minds are dealing with in the classroom. And so I'm grateful that I had that undergraduate experience to stand me up, to let me know that when I was the only African-American in that master's degree program at Boston University, because nobody else looked like me, I did not have one Black professor nowhere in the building.
Right. Okay? And you know what you said was, when they said to you, you might want to think of something else, those same students at Howard are going to hear, this is how you win. This is how you're going to get it done. This is who you need to call. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to sit. This is how you understudy. They're not pointing them to a different option. They're teaching them how to grind for the option that they want. That's the difference when we can teach our own people.
That's right.
Absolutely. So good, Gloria. Yes. Caterina?
It's just such an opportunity. I mean, everything that you said, I just could see and imagine the conversations. I fast forward to the future and just think about, as we look back, what this decision that Howard has made will make, the difference that it will have been made, and the names that will become household names that we will know because she has impacted them. That right now, the trajectory for some young adults is being changed because of the radar. You know, even everything, God causes everything to work together for our good. And even in this, it puts Howard yet on the map again. It puts, you know, this conversation yet on the map again. And there will be some people that will make the decision to go to that program because of this decision.
Right.
And their lives will be changed and impacted, intersected in a different way.
And not only Howard, you guys,
that's
Howard,
what it takes.
Yeah, and not only Howard, but I think we could do a better job at working those job fairs. If we are HBCU alums, we need to be at those job fairs. We need to be out there recruiting these young people. I know I can do a better job going to our churches and just really, really, really waving the banner for these HBCUs.
Right.
It is a beautiful experience. I cannot say enough about HBCUs and how they enrich your life, how they protect you, how they give you options and opportunities that somehow some of our young people have the thought that it's better over there. I can only go so far because they have limited resources. So Gloria, you were going to jump in?
Yeah, I was going to say that a part of that prestige of the other universities is the press that the other professors have received from the work that they have done, that Dr. Jones was getting ready to lose, or they wanted to bury. They wanted to cover it up with this mess instead of lifting her up. So the fact that she's going to be lifted up with all that she's done, and she's going to go to a school that is going to celebrate her, brag about her, PR her, it is going to turn people's minds from, I have to go to Ivy League to get it. It turns this HBCU into an Ivy League kind of environment because they're bringing an Ivy League kind of performance of the professors that are there. And that produces more higher caliber people wanting to come teach there, want to attend there, and spread their energies at other HBCUs. Her choosing Harvard will have her choosing Howard will have someone else will be stronger of taking their brilliance to A&T.
Right.
Someone will be stronger,
right.
take their brilliance
That's
to
right.
State. Some will be broader.
Right to Tigolo.
Exactly. They will go right to Tigolo. They will go to these other schools because there's now become such a pride in giving back to the community. Because she said it. I have worked all my life trying to be accepted by a community that doesn't want to accept me. That doesn't even want
Gloria,
to.
And she said, you know, just like we were talking about Caterina, that Caterina is that since she was bused to school in the second grade, she has been in predominantly white institutions. That's the environment. To be able to go and not only avail herself too, like we get to free ourselves as well. Let's not forget that.
That's right. Let's do that.
Kind of environment is really everything as well. And to that extent, all of the alumni being able to say, hey, we can not just bring we can bring different kinds of professors, give different options to our students. I think the idea that idea that it's a limiting option is not just a false narrative, but a self-replicating one. Yes, we don't have creative writing. What if we kind of talk about how we can, right? And if you say, oh, we don't have access to the professors, you have access to some. How can we get funding so that you have access to others? What if we see what the students really actually want to study, et cetera? What if we can change how we reach out to these students who have been told, if you want to be an engineer, you have to go to MIT? No, not necessarily.
Right.
What if you go to Morehouse? What if, you know, that actually, do you know what they have to offer engineering students?
Right. Do you even know?
Right. And so we need to open this conversation much more widely.
So Sabrina, let's talk about that. How do we free ourselves? How do we free ourselves? Because that's a topic all by itself. How do we free ourselves? Let's talk about some how-tos, because every woman on this panel, we have freed ourselves from some situations over the years. So you got to be free to be. So let's talk about that. Sabrina, 3 points on how you free yourself.
Sure. I think the first thing to point out is that it's not getting on a sled and sliding downhill. It's, you know, you've got to go up and down. Even she said, Nikole Hannah Jones, Dr. Nikole Hannah Jones said herself in that conversation with Gayle King that the initial offer of the 5-year contract she was willing to take because she didn't want the drama. She didn't want it for her beloved alma mater, UNC. For herself, she wanted to do her work and not have to be distracted by this. And at some point, part of the freeing is having to do the painful thing, which is walk away from the place you love. Walk away from the thing that you love that is hurting you, actually.
And the thing that is not giving you freedom.
That's right.
Walking away from a place that you know doesn't give you freedom so that it's just because it's comfortable is very hard, but very required. And many of us have been in a place where you wake up 5 years later and then you realize that you were silenced, covered up, shoved under, whatever, to make them feel comfortable. And because you did not want to start ruffling people's feathers, you quieted yourself.
Right. And you know, she even said, like, the Ida B. Wells project that she started is housed at UNC. That's theirs now. They own it. She had to leave it. But what she's doing, well, I'm going to build something new at Howard then. I can recreate my work. But why should she have, why do we have to do that? So I just think that that's the first thing, because it can be very difficult for us to say, I want to be free, but actually there's all these barriers that can hold us back, that can feel like impenetrable walls. But actually to know that impenetrable wall is actually the first step that we all have to kind of get through and over and around. We don't feel alone in that. Now we've got to go through that. And part of that first step too is that knowing and asserting your worth, making sure that they say that, as you said, you're not going to fall for anything. I'm going to sit here and say, this is, if you can't provide this basic need, then I'm actually not even here to give up my basic needs, period. And certainly not for you, who's not going to honor what I'm bringing, right? Then be real about what you're bringing, and then bring it and know where and why. She didn't just go to Howard. She went to Howard for reasons. She said, I'm going here because I want to do X, Y, and Z for X, Y, and Z people, and including myself. All of those things are necessary, and all of them are important.
That's awesome.
Gloria, you
That's
kept,
awesome.
well, I have to give a shout out to my husband who's in the chat, HBCU graduate from Wilberforce University. And Gloria, you, Anthony Earl, doctor, we put the doctor on it, Dr. Anthony
Right,
Earl.
that's right.
Gloria, you kept confusing Howard and Harvard. And I just want to ask you to just hit on, how did your decision to go to Howard set you up for Harvard?
That's a great question. That's why I know when I was talking to Sabrina, how the teachers treat you differently at Howard versus Harvard. And that at Howard and at HBCUs, they see all the possibilities are for you. They ask you to go after whatever you want, and they push you to dig harder than you would feel comfortable doing. They expect you to give far greater than you expect of yourself because they know you're capable and they believe in you. They push you, they make you uncomfortable, and they make you want to win at the same thing. So going to Howard first prepared me for Harvard, because Harvard was a school that made it very clear that we are going to break you all the way down and then build you back up. And if you're willing to go on that road, you've got to start the road very, very strong with the capacity and the confidence. The capacity was pushed at Howard. The confidence was placed at Howard. When you saw all that spectacularness to the left, to the right, and kids your own age whose parents were also spectacular, was what you went into Harvard as your armor. And then your armor, when people try to tear you down, the armor was strong. I've said it a zillion times. The HBCU first and a prestigious college like that second was a journey I would never change.
Vanessa Keeler says, my sister-in-law went to Lincoln University and is a broadcast journalist who just recently took over a time slot that Rush Limbaugh held. And believe me, she doesn't bite her tongue because she was empowered by attending an HBCU. Carol Daniel, what a story and a time slot to take over. Wow. Thanks, Vanessa, for sharing that.
Wow.
Sabrina, this is a juicy topic. I mean, we just can't get enough of it. And I'm so glad that you brought this very important topic to We Got Issues.
Yeah, what about the student protest, you guys? What about the student protesting for her? What about the power of that? What about her responsibility to go back to the students, to talk to them first? Before she broadcasted her decision, she wouldn't talk to those students. What about the fever and the fire of the students fighting for what they know was right, even if it was uncomfortable for them, because this is their university. And they wanted to make it clear that although it's my university, I don't agree with those decisions. And Samia was explaining that the fact that the trustee could be even involved in that decision is against the law.
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
It's the law.
That's the whole.
Wait a minute. What
is exactly what the whole tenure process is set up to avoid, so that the production of new thought and knowledge is not hampered by political whims and moments, so that you can say something unpopular in order to create a new conversation without somebody saying, well, I don't like that. We'd never have another conversation if you could never say something unpopular to open up new scholarship, which brings us back to the whole critical race theory thing you were talking about before, which is a rather old scholarship that they're bringing back as a boogeyman, but it wouldn't exist. We wouldn't be able to talk. We wouldn't even have Black studies, African-American studies, 50 years.
That's right.
If somebody didn't have tenure who could actually start that conversation and push for those departments, because otherwise they just get fired.
I mean, months of activism from students, faculty, and other community members up and down Franklin Street, all around the university. I mean, I am so doggone proud because, you know, we just got this one wrong. I mean, Chapel Hill, UNC has done some good things in the past, but this one was wrong, straight up wrong. And it will go down history as one of their greatest mistakes. And so again, Gloria, when you talk about activism, those student protests. And you're right, Samia. If we don't stand up and call somebody and knock on somebody's door, it takes a village for us to get what we deserve to have. So whenever you think one phone call, one march, one poster, one call to a legislature, one call to the president's office, those ones add up. And so we just got to stay woke. We've got to know that we can make a difference.
And Sabrina, the thing is, those students are not just marching for Dr. Jones or the university, but for themselves.
No.
You know what Gloria was talking about?
That's right.
What you get at an HBCU, that kind of loving support and push and expectations from your professors and your communities. That's a thing that Black professors at other universities also must provide against the prevailing winds of the rest of the college and the messages that those students are receiving. So when those students lose one of us, they know that there's only so many of us there to hold on to. Them losing that changes their whole experience, their whole education, their whole access to anyone they can talk to help them through that process.
Wow.
Yeah, I think of all the conversations.
She was leading them to that.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I think of all the side conversations I had to have to make it through college with the one Black professor after school at dinner in the corner, just meeting with us. It is so true. You added so much to this conversation, Samia. Thank you so much for being on with us.
You really did. Absolutely.
Yeah, we have to come back to her because she's a published author. She's got books. She's doing this huge orchestra when we open back up at the Kennedy Center, you guys. She wrote an orchestra.
Let her explain it. You're not explaining it right. Samia, please, because she ain't doing it right. You wrote an orchestra? I don't think so. Can you tell us what you did and what you're about to do?
I have been working with some really, really fantastic composers lately. The Washington Chorus, Washington, D.C., has hired its first Black artistic director, Dr. Eugene Rogers.
Nice.
And I worked with the composer Julian Walkner to create a piece for their first season, which was to open in fall 2020 at the Kennedy Center. It will now open in 2022. We did a piece, I'll share a link of a preview of it, of a bit of it that we could do virtually. But yeah, working to create pieces that we can have these conversations in all sorts of different spaces, with music, with different kinds of music, with different kinds of our own communities, which I think is important. Keep dribbling it along. How do we write? How do we sing? How do we work together across all sorts of kind of artistic and thoughtful spaces?
Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Oh my goodness. Brilliant minds, brilliant minds. I tell you, Gloria, your family is brilliant. And we're just so glad that you share your family. Well, this is Sabrina, Caterina, Crisette, and Gloria on We Got Issues. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Take care. Ciao.
Bye. Ciao, ciao.
Okay,
wow,
that's great. Samia, thank you so much for joining us today. You added so much, so much.
I mean,
about this whole show that you're doing, because it's the real stuff we're talking about.
Yes, so good.
And it was so good, so good. When I was watching her reaction on the TV when this was all going down, and Gail I was like, oh, she needs to talk. And then you said, I was like, oh,
okay.
Really perfect.
It's a big deal. It was a big deal. It was a big deal. For her to drop that bomb, I mean, my phone was blowing up. Did you hear? Gail King. And we didn't even talk about that. She gave that interview to who? Gail King.
Right.
Tell somebody.
We didn't even talk about
the one and only time she's spoken on this. She has not spoken on this, and she said, I will speak on it with you.
That's right. That's right. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Well, you guys, this was great. Thanks for everything. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, family.
Bye.